Are you always exhausted because there's too much work to do in your business but too little time? Do you want to hire your first employee but you don't know how to do it right? Do you think hiring a friend or relative is the best way to do it? If so, you are in the right place because in this video entitled Best Practices When Hiring an Employee for Your Small Business, you will learn how to hire the right person for your small business so you can enjoy growing your business faster and easier. For today's lesson, let me share with you the story of my mentee, Emmy. She's the wife of a seafarer and the mother of 4 kids. And Emmy used to be a sales representative of a well-known direct seller of cosmetics and skincare. Inspired by her 2 teenage children, she decided to create her own skincare line for teens. And she started with soaps for those who have sensitive skin and acne problems. And when her husband found out about her plan, he was skeptical, but he showed his support. Whatever would make you happy, he told her. And eager to get started, Emmy attended soap and skincare workshops. And after hearing and learning the basics, she then used her savings to develop her products. There was a lot of trial and error to get the right formula. Now, Emmy would get frustrated sometimes, but she kept reminding herself that it was part of the process. Her daughters would critique her work now and then and say, "Mommy, the scent isn't nice," or the soap has a sticky feel on the skin. So, again, Emmy had to list everything down because her teenage daughter's suggestions were very helpful. After all, she wanted to make sure that her products were safe for tweens and teens. And so, when she finally got the formula right, it was now time to sell her products. She enlisted her teenage daughters to help with the promotion on social media. And soon, people they know got interested in her soaps. At first, there were just a few loyal customers, but with the help of their positive reviews, Emmy started to get more and more customers. And this was when she started to get exhausted and stressed. Even if her daughters would help whenever they could, she knew that they cannot be available all the time. So she thought of hiring an employee. But how? Should she just hire one of her relatives or her friends? All she needed was one anyway. Now, being a new business owner, Emmy was not sure if it was time for her to hire. But her heart was screaming that she had to do this already. She had 4 kids to take care of and a household to manage. And then she remembered her reason for starting her business. Emmy wanted to succeed, not only for herself to earn her own money, but also for her to be able to sustain their lifestyle. Hopefully, this would also enable her husband to come home so they can be together as a whole family again. They have already missed a lot of family celebrations and milestones together. And now that their 4 girls are growing up fast and both of them are not getting any younger, she knows that her husband cannot be a seafarer forever. And she doesn't like worrying too much about his safety from the pirates at sea. So one day, while her eldest daughter was scrolling on her phone, she saw my video on YouTube. She sent the video link to Emmy, and that's how Emmy ended up being my mentee. Now, when Emmy finally hired her first employee, she told me, "Oh, Mommy N, thank God my daughter found you, or else I would still be struggling with my dilemma." So, what did Emmy learn to do? Let me share with you the best practices I do for my businesses, which I also shared with Emmy. Number 1, before you announce that you're hiring, assess what duties the job will involve. Now, please don't dive in right away. Yes, hiring can be exciting, but you have to take a moment to determine all the responsibilities, the tasks, and the skills that the job requires. For example, Emmy was looking for someone who can oversee her online store and answer inquiries. Now, being tech savvy and articulate is a must, and she had to take note of that. And number 2, prepare a clear job description that outlines what you're looking for in an employee and what they can expect from the job. Now, vague job descriptions will get you candidates who have no real interest in the actual job, and you'll end up wasting a lot of time. For an employee to perform a specific role, a job description involves the following: essential job requirements, purpose of the job, duties, responsibilities, qualifications, skills, and competencies. Now, next, we go to number 3. List the different competencies you're looking for in an employee. Competencies are based on 3 things. They are observable, measurable, and based on performance. They often differ from one position to another. Let's look at competency this way. For example, Emmy needed someone who can help her or who can be her frontline staff when dealing with customers, especially on social media. In short, she was looking for something like a receptionist, and having a pleasing personality would not be enough, right? A receptionist should be a quick thinker and she must also be resourceful. Emmy needs her receptionist to be able to converse fluently both in Filipino and in English as well. And these are just a few examples. The idea here is that the employee should be able to give the business she's representing a good impression. So we'll talk later about competencies some other time. But for now, let's continue to number 4, ask the right questions. The key here is to use the opportunity to check if the applicant is a good fit for the job. You have to get all the information you need without going around in circles during the interview. So you need to be careful in crafting questions even before the actual interview. And number 5, don't hire someone who is exactly like you. It's normal to think that we need to hire someone who is just like us. You see, the problem with this is that the person you like best might not be the best person for the job. It's better to hire someone whose strengths are your weaknesses. Hiring in the areas in which you are weak leads to a more well-balanced team. So, those are the 5 best practices when hiring an employee for your small business. Many business owners are like Emmy. They believe that hiring friends and relatives is the right thing to do because they can be trusted. In reality, partnering with friends and relatives can complicate relationships. It brings business differences into the relationship and creates enemies among families. I have experienced this and it was a nightmare. It still is. And Emmy was thankful that she did the right thing for her business. Now, some days are crazy, but she manages to do things effectively because she now has someone doing the tasks that she finds time-consuming. So please spare yourself from working so hard that you no longer have time for what's important in your life. You can do this, okay? This is Mommy N, your Mommy Negosyo saying, be business-minded, Pinoy.